When your preference patterns are assembled, they form a 16 four-letter MBTI type. However, the position of that type within the MBTI type table gives more insights into the type. When we look at the table, we want to see that it's designed to highlight the relationships between each of the different personality types. When these 16 combinations of preferences are arranged, the similarities and differences in behavior and personality type are readily identified. And understanding the structure of the type table is going to help you to better understand your type as it relates to the types of your partners. So first we look at the extraversion and introversion. The bottom two rows of the table are reserved for those with a preference for extraversion, and the top two rows are reserved for those with a preference for introversion. The idea behind this arrangement is that those with a preference for introversion, because of their propensity for reflection, may appear to have their heads up in the clouds, while those with a preference for extraversion, on the other hand, tend to be active with their feet down on the ground. When we look at sensing and intuition, we notice that they are in the side-by-side order. In the left two columns of the table, we find those with a preference for sensing, and the right two columns, we find those with a preference for intuition. The arrangement reflects their order in the sensing-intuition preference dichotomy, with sensing on the left and intuition on the right. Next, we're going to look at feeling and thinking. The outer columns of the table contain those with a preference for thinking. The inner columns contain those with a preference for feeling. This arrangement is designed to reflect the greater need for an affiliation with those with a preference for feeling by placing them next to each other at the heart of the table. Lastly, our judging versus perceiving. The top and the bottom rows are made up of those preferences for judging. The middle rows are made up with those with a preference for perceiving. In this arrangement, the more resolute individuals with a preference for judging form the roof and the foundation of the table. In other words, they're going to hold the whole structure together, and they contain the more flexible individuals with a perception for perceiving. The MBTI type table is organized as such that each type shares 3 preferences, or 3 letters, in common with the adjacent types. Therefore, as you move around from one column or row to the next, a single preference letter changes. Note that these preferences for thinking and judging have been placed in the 4 corners, maintaining the boundaries of the table. This mirrors the thinking-judging desire to keep things firmly in order.